Bushwick Po' Boy coming at you. This is GEET Fuel Processor Tech, How It Works, Episode 2, Part 2. We're picking up where I left off in Episode 2, Part 1, where I give you a visual based off of the Lavoisier experiments, and then I show you, and then I paint a picture using that as a framework to replace little bits here and add details here and there in order to get you a visual you can put in your head, and then give you other adjustments, other takes, other pieces, other things to put with that in order for you to help you understand the idea, the concepts of what's going on, and then give you a more specific list of phenomena that I would like to see recreated personally. Now, taking off from where I left off, here I go. When it comes to the piping, you can use black iron pipe. You can use, which is coated with or plated with magnetite. You can use ferritic stainless steel, duplex stainless steel. Yes, those are a thing. Alnico or mild steel. And these are all ferromagnetically permeable, which is something, according to many established GEET builders, all said you should want. If you want to keep it simple, you can use a mild steel rod, reactor rod as it's called. If you want to have something more corrosion resistant, you could use duplex or ferritic stainless steel reactor rod as it's called. So, once this is, no baby, no, that glowing hurts. So once these pipe materials, at the bare minimum, you can go with regular steel or you can go with black iron. You can go black iron. It's magnetite. It's got a little bit of a protection to it, and a little bit of corrosion resistance because it's magnetite plated. That's what black iron's for. So it's cool. It's good in this case. So it's good. If you want to go super expensive and highest longevity, then you'd go Alnico or the two stainless steels. Then you would have one of those two stainless steels alloys is used for the rod. Again, this device's function as an actual fuel reformer has been confirmed. I also got screenshots of the Old Dominion University archive of the web archives of them, actually. And I have the PDFs of the results and reports. There's a total of 6. There's the beginning, then there's the midterm, and there's the final in 2012. So the fuel reformer effect was confirmed, and the thing is, they did not do everything the Paul Pantone and established GEET builders said to do, and they still made it work, and it ripped 85 apart, and it was 28.57% more efficient. So that's a good thing. So there's that. Then you have some other people that do, their own half-assed versions, and some of them you could sell them. It'd be nice if they worked together with David Pantone and the others, but it's whatever. So be it. It's a half-assed deviation. I'll get into that in a minute. So, the Calpra, I think I've said it before. If I haven't, I'm saying it now, but I believe I said it before. Correct me if I'm wrong. The Calpra is one of those half-assed things. It's based on the design of Gilead. Now, and it works too. You can install them as Mercedes-Benz cars. I think some people in France and parts of Canada installed them on cars, drop the pollution quite a bit, and raise their mileage a little bit, which is nice. Some other vehicles too. Anyway, Let's try the online resources again. Let's try the slot together updating to all that I have as a PDF. I'm actually going to make another one because there's some issues with I think the supplemental addendum to the GEET might be an issue copyright wise. I'm not sure. Look, I'm an IP abolitionist, okay? I know it's shit, but the system and the systems that they're built upon are corrupt inherently. So you don't really have much of an alternative, realistically, that they're going to enforce in your favor. So I can't hate on someone that uses copyright as a protective means and to ensure people try to minimize incentives to piracy in order to keep a profit going, so they can use that to fund their R&D related to that thing. I can't hate on them for it, and I'm not going to talk shit about it because it's not them. It's the systematic bullshitting in itself that's more to blame, and the fundamental metaphilosophical and metaethical errors being made at the fundamental fucking level. I'm not going into that though. Fuck no. We're talking about the GEET. So again, when push comes to shove, I will probably make another PDF like it with different updates, and I'm going to have pieced together myself, and I'm going to have stuff like I'm going to have these kind of adjustments made. Instead, and David Pantone selling the equivalent of a GEET student, equivalent to what Paul would sell as when he was alive, as a $5,000 course for $250 for R&D investment. So please check that out too. It's on the GEET International page. Him and David Gonzalez, I'm sorry, not David, I'm sorry. David Pantone and Daniel Gonzalez, that's what I was trying to say, are in the process of doing some things. Hopefully bringing that shit back. So, but in the meantime, check the Mega.NZ link of mine. Keep check on it often, because I will update it from time to time. Take those references, and let's use all the info I gathered. For this, try to make this work running, say, one reactor, make it be fed by 2 modified carburetors, make a strong vacuum through the middle pipe, the longest middle pipe, and that's the middle pipe that's got the rod inside. You're going to build this thing. Then there we go. I'm on track. Let's make it, and let's give each modified carburetor is going to feed a piece of fuel line. It's going to converge at a Y splice, and that Y splice will feed into another piece of fuel line that'll go until it reaches a piece of like bronze or brass or bronze or copper tubing that's going to feed the reactor pipe, the bottom of the reactor piping. Keep that fuel line 6 to 8 inches away from the reactor itself. Let's do this in order to carry out some experiments so we can see what's going on. And if you want, you can build a more simplistic air management flow valve alternative. Airflow management valve alternative. And make sure you have at least a 30 mesh or 35 mesh, I could say, screen cone in the fitting, the modified carb mount to nipple fitting or whatever, and let's see how well it goes. Now, if you wish to build these devices, please make sure the GEET reactor is on the side of the engine that the exhaust is at. The exhaust pipe's coming out, or the muffler would be pointing. Make sure it's on that side of the engine. Make the magnetic north end But you check this by using a liquid compass to see which end makes compass point south, which end makes compass point north. If there's when you have remnant magnetics in there, make the magnetic north end of the outer exhaust pipe and the reactor rod point away from you or point up. The magnetic south of the exhaust pipe or fat pipe or outer pipe and the reactor rod point towards you or down. And then the inner pipe, the intake pipe that the exhaust is going to be heating, the exhaust is going to go around and heat up, and you're going to put through the pipe with the rod inside of it. The magnetic north of the middle pipe, the longer, skinnier pipe with the rod, that pipe's magnetic north goes down and it's or towards you, and the south of it points up or away from you. So you have consistent opposites attract in the magnetics if there's remnant magnetics. The T's, unless you're using galvanized, need to be checked for remnant magnetics. If there are, I'm reading off of this because I made this myself. It's as genuine as fucking day that I'm reading off this to you. This is genuine. This is my thoughts put into text, and I printed and laminated the fuck out. So it's just genuinely coming from me regardless. The T with the wide end making your liquid compass point north should be screwed onto the end of the outer pipe pointing down or towards you. The wide end of the other T making the compass point south should be screwed onto the end of the exhaust pipe pointing away from you or up. If you're using galvanized T's, this may not be necessary because that when they get dipped in that zinc alloy coating, they tend to hit Curie point in heat. So that tends to either be dissipated or distorted enough that it won't affect the magnetics of the pipes, especially in the rod. The two most important pipes in the rod. Or you could just heat the T's up to a low, dull red color and let them cool. That way the Curie point will be reached. See? If you hear the fan in the background, pardon that. So, you got that. All the reactor piping will be screwed together with magnetic remnant signatures lined up based on opposites of attraction. I've already said this, but make sure you keep that liquid compass on you as you do this. The reactor piping will be screwed together. No, sorry. Okay. When looking at the intake and exhaustment engine, look for a threading inside the ports. Briggs and Stratton engines usually already have them made for 1.5 inch pipes. Other engines will need to be threaded with a threading tool that matches the pipe threads that you have on your pipes exactly. If you have to, you can use a couple of threaded pipe unions to join section of exhaust pipe together. Listen closely about how to burn in a rod when you do manage to simulate this and you want to run it and you want to know how to do this. If you start with a rod too long and you burn it in to get the markings or signature on it. I had my motherfucker around here somewhere. Where did I put it? Let's see. My ruler is around. Oops. Anyway, give me a second. Now, as I was saying, folks, start with the rod too long, and you burn it in to get the markings or signature burned into it. Then follow the signature with a compass. The moment, and you what you do, the centimeter side. If you got one that shows exact millimeters, that'd be better. But you hold your rod, you hold your rod like this. You hold your rod against there with your thumb, and you hold your this side of the ruler against that, right? and so you hold it. You hold your rod here. You hold your against your ruler like this, and then you look at the exact length. Make sure it's 0 and 0 there on the two ends matched up. And it's 12 inches for this case. And you take the rod. You take the compass. You go up and down. You see where. You see which end of the compass. Which end? How far? Say you go up far enough, you see how far the compass arm swings north. You mark that. Go down far enough to make the compass start spinning around in the south end of the south arm. Swing around and point to it. Mark that off. That's how you do that, right? Go up again. And do it. And go down and do it. And once you got that marking pattern, so you do hypothetically, you do red for one and white for the other. Move it down enough it'll make the compass swing, and then swing the other way until the other arm points at it, whichever end. And you look at that, you see how many millimeters between the two marks. You cut that new rod in. You get a new rod, and you measure exactly that length in millimeters, and you cut that sumbitch. Then you take your compass again, and you see which end makes the compass point north. You make that either a 17 or 18 degree bevel point, or you make it a smooth bullet point. So the south end, I meant to say, the south end of the rod. Whatever end makes the compass point south, you need the 17 degree bevel or 18 degree bevel fine point, or a smooth bullet point. Now you flip it over, and you see the end that makes the rod, the other end of the rod that makes the compass point north. You flatten it, smooth, or you cup it inside, make it cupped inside. Remember that. South end of the rod is pointed. The north end of the rod is either flat, smooth and flat, or cupped inside. Okay? Now you got a kitten bitching. She's bitching her head off a little bit. Sorry. Fellow by the name of Mark Holler, who by the way has a fantastic video on fuel economy tricks. I intend to use a clip of him talking about engine lubricant for a video of my own for one day in the future. It's under fair use, of course. He said not to cut that burned-in long rod, and I think I see why. I see an advantage to it, and I'll put that out in a minute. But rather cut a new rod to length, which I just explained how to do, based on the endpoints of the burn-in marks on the rod, where the compass will point to said rod. He never said why. And this, I say, just follow it, because you can make multiple reactor rods of the same length. Now, we'll warn you. When you have new rod, now we'll warn you. The type of metal you use, whether it's regular steel, hot rolled mild steel, or if it's ferritic stainless steel or duplex stainless steel, and the clearance space between the inner wall of the long middle pipe in the rod itself, those all will factor in on how you burn that fucker in. The piping, the rod material, the pipe material, and the clearances. If you want to swap in and say do a regular steel rod in a duplex or ferritic stainless steel pipe to pipe setup, reactor setup, and you want to use galvanized or T's, well, that's going to be different. It's going to be different. It's going to have different, results. And the clearance between the surface of the rod itself and the inside wall of the middle pipe will also affect the length of the rod, just as well as what kind of fuels you want to rip apart, reform. They will also affect the length of the rod too. I'm giving you that heads up so you'll know. Now, going further, but I say you could make multiple rods of the same kind. So if you lose one, you got another just like it. You can slide that bitch right back up in there, burn it in, and then let that motherfucker go. Now, I will tell you also, fuel mixtures. Say I wanted to do a carburetor, two modified carburetors. I wanted to use gasoline. The rod is going to be different. Your burn-in rod, and the rod length's going to vary, very much likely vary based on the chemistry of the other. Say you'll need to do separate rod for regular Coke versus Diet Coke, Pepsi versus Diet Pepsi. To do fun shit to rip apart. If you manage to get this recreated, that's going to affect the chemistry. The chemical differences in the soda pops are going to affect this. If you want it as an example. Once you got your new rod, as you cut it to length, shape the end of the rod across the. I already said this shit. Essentially, you get it running. You'll notice you can test your runtime difference, and you'll know you get a great reaction. You get a great reaction if you still put the muffler back on the other end. You get an awesome reaction if you could put your hand on the muffler and it's not going to burn you. The endothermic heat exchange is fucking going off. That's a good thing if that's the case. When the burning in of the rods, you're cutting the said new rods based on length of new rods, burning patterns as well as the said rods, make a comps point. We start running the engines, we make sure that they're burned in. And this is how you do the tests. You do test runs. You tune the reactor by putting a new rod in and burning it in, and then cutting new rods based on that fuel mixture you use. So you got to document that shit. You got to document down to the millimeters, folks. And that's how you tune your engine to run on make different reformate out of different fluids you want to vaporize. Make sure you use a high temp sealing paste. Red RTV is the go-to. I actually got some. Where the fuck did I put it? Shit, where'd I put it? Had it up here somewhere. Point is, I have some. Now, please look that stuff over. I do have a crazy set of hypotheses for episode 3 to go into the more controversial territory. I think this is possible to make little arcs, electrostatic sparking and ionization, or in a heat exchange or plasma, non-thermal plasma reforming reaction able to be done. I think it's possible. And I'm trying to help people recreate at least that, because if that's the case, if that can happen, we're golden. We're excellent. I'll see you later. Be ready for episode 3 when it comes around.